call me anymore! I don't know what to do.
A gun. Barbiturates.
No sooner did I get the knife back than there were people all over the place.
I got molested in a little boy's room.
Night Killer is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and it's also one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's right up there with The Room, Miami Connection, Troll 2, all of those kinds of movies. By the way, same director as Troll 2, so if that doesn't tell you enough, watch Troll 2. But also watch this. If you haven't seen the movie, still watch this video. I think it'll inspire you to seek the movie out because it is so funny, it's so entertaining. And I first heard of it from Chris Stuckman on his Hilariosity series. And when I saw that video, I ordered the Blu-ray like right after it finished. I watched it and I said, that was in Virginia Beach. We gotta go find those spots. So that's what we're doing today. Well, let's jump into it. Head of the Going to the Movies crack research team, Virginia. What have you got for us?
Apparently it was freezing cold in Virginia when this film was shot on location here.
It looks like summer, but there are some scenes where you see like Christmas decorations and stuff. And I think there's even one with a calendar that has December of 1989. So I'm guessing that's when they shot it. But welcome into our first stop. This is Melanie's house. And I'm gonna get a little bit into the plot here. There is no way to really discern any of this plot, but she has a daughter. She's getting her ready inside of this house. And then she hands her off to some guy. I don't know if it's her ex-husband who now has a second wife or what, but he picks up the daughter and he leaves, and he comes from this direction. And there's a couple of buildings down there that you can see are still standing, as they did 30 years ago. So towards the end of the movie, when she's feeling like she's gonna get attacked again, she looks out of this window, I believe it's this one, through the blinds and sees the killer talking in a phone booth right here next to this tree. And then later, after the big fight, all of the news media comes, and I can't match that angle perfect because it was taken from up on the porch. But we see this tree, which is still the same one here with the telephone pole there. I thought this was such a funny scene because if you look at the van, the news van, it's actually a rock and roll radio station. I can't remember their call letters, but it's FM 99. And I tweeted them one time and sent them the screenshot and asked them if they knew that they were in this movie, and they had no idea. And then they looked up the reviews for it and they were horrified. So shout out to 99 FM from a former rock DJ. And this is Melanie's house. Ready for the next stop? Okay, and our second house, which is also in the Ghent neighborhood of Norfolk, is right here. And this is the weird guy's house where he brings the daughter. And it's also where the news reporter was for a scene. So a lot of people always ask me, how do I find the spots from the movies? And this one, I got really lucky because Virginia and I were looking at wedding venues and we found one here in the Ghent neighborhood. So when I was watching this movie, knowing that it was filmed in Virginia Beach in Norfolk, I thought, you know what, that kind of looks like the Ghent neighborhood. And so this building, I thought was a church. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I can't remember because it was a while ago, but I decided to look up churches in Ghent, and I dropped the orange man down and I saw that building and those buildings back there on Street View. And then I just went down a little bit, found the yellow house. Sometimes you get lucky like that. Right out here on Croatan Road is where the chase takes place, and we're first introduced to Axel in a really confusing way. And look, I'm gonna give a big spoiler here. I don't know if you're concerned about spoilers for this movie. You probably shouldn't be. There's bigger things to worry about in the world, but right here on this street is where it begins. Christine and Croatan, I think we see that sign in the background. And they drive this way, and he says,
Gonna wet your whistle!
and so the spoiler is that he is pretending to be a stalker, Virginia's laughing because I'm dodging cars as I'm half paying attention to the traffic. But he's pretending to be a stalker, but he's actually her husband. That's the spoiler. Then once they get to this point in the road, they take a right down Surfside Avenue, where he then chases her to the hotel, and that's where the famous bathroom scene happens. Look at the house. It's gray now. Ocean Key Resort is the site of one of the funniest scenes in the movie when Axel gets out, and he's getting out right about here. And there are a couple of buildings that actually still match today, and that would be this one right here on the right, as well as the Quality Inn building that you might not be able to see because of the exposure right now, because there's a bunch of shadows and bright spots. But inside of here is where that hilarious line was spoken that he said, "Where'd your clothes go?" And the guy goes,
I got molested in the little boy's room.
so he goes in here into the lobby, and then the bathrooms are in the pool area, and we were not allowed to film in there. They let us take pictures, but if you've been doing this for a while, you know, have your lens cap already off when you ask the question, and just hold the camera to your side and you're gonna get some good footage. The best part about this movie is that the director was Italian. His wife, who he wrote the movie with, is also Italian, and they don't speak English very well. So in translation, you get some really funny lines, some interesting dialogue that will crack you up out of nowhere. And that's where we get the molested in the little boy's room line, where he runs out. Yeah, here is the parking lot that he parks in when he chases her. And you can see when he jumps onto the beach, the freeway back here. But they have changed this parking lot up quite a bit. So there's a ledge right here that goes down onto it. You see him jump over a little fence onto the beach, but now they've got this whole playground thing out here. And we're gonna go down onto the beach and see where one of the most theatrical suicide attempts has ever been filmed. Okay, so Virginia is standing here on the beach while I record this segment because I didn't want anyone to think I was filming them, but this is about the spot where Melanie is just on the ground, probably like 6 bottles of pills, like 3 flasks, you know, it's just real crazy. And then Axel comes from the right and he says, "You gotta swallow some salt water." And he like wrestles her in there and makes her swallow a bunch of salt water, and then it does a very suggestive Heimlich maneuver. And that is the beach scene right here in Virginia Beach. You can't miss it because the rocks are all in the background and the building's right there. Virginia's like Anakin when it comes to sand.
Just very slow walker.
Anakin slow walker. Right here is where the motel once stood, where in the movie he keeps the girl kidnapped, Melanie. And it was kind of a tricky spot to find because this area has changed quite a bit in the last several years. But I'm gonna show you how I found it. Okay, so here's the angle that we were able to confirm our guesses were right. So there's a sign in the background when Axel's walking up bringing the fried chicken for the Diplomat Motel. And so I looked that up and found out that a Diplomat Motel was demolished in this spot around 2013 or 2014 to make way for this hotel. And when I got here a few minutes ago, I saw this building here, which is visible in the background when he's walking up. And you can see on the corner of the column with the angle at the top, they've filled in that wall, but that is the building you can see behind him. So the Diplomat Motel sign was right about there, and he walked in here and just to the left to go into the motel room where he was keeping Melanie. All right, so normally I don't go out of movie order, but for this one I'm going to really quick just to show you how we found the spot, because the cops, they're called to 34th and Atlantic, which is actually right behind us. It looks like they drive a long way to get there, but you can see when they get in the cars, this building in the background and that brick one over there with the windows and that triangular thing on the top. Okay, so one more time to give you a better idea of this vantage point. The cops were here, they were called to 34th and Atlantic, the motel. That was right there. But they drive off in the opposite direction, and then the shot cuts and we see them coming from here. So they circled the block for no reason. As you can see, it is two-way. It's really a shame. I can't imagine the people that put this Hilton Garden Inn here knew that cinematic masterpiece and one of the greatest scenes of all time in the history of celluloid was filmed right here.
While you shoot yourself, try to, I'm gonna eat. Nothing does it to me like fried chicken.
Now dust in the wind beneath the giant hotel. So we're now at the Virginia Aquarium in Virginia Beach, and for this scene, I think it was one of the ones that was added later. So the first director wanted to make it more of a cerebral, psychological thriller, but whoever was paying for this thing wanted more gore, so they hired another guy to come in and shoot those shots. And I think this is probably one of those added scenes because a woman gets murdered inside of the aquarium. And we're not going to go in today, but I'll show you the outside. And we get a reporter right here in front of this big column, and you see a pathway back there that is visible. A lot of news reporter footage in this movie.
So it says, Claudio Fragasso always intended for the film to be called Night Killer. The producers, however, renamed it for the Italian release, calling it Do Not Open That Door, to make it an unofficial sequel to Toby Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was released in Italy as Do Not Open That Door. He was not happy with the title change.
And the funny thing about that is the actual Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 came out before. It came out that same year, but before Night Killer was released in Italy. This is the actual Virginia Beach Police Headquarters or something. Now, there was a brown sign somewhere in this spot. It's not there anymore, but they still use the same motif for all the signs with all their buildings. It's like a municipal area. They have lots of municipal things here. Downtown Norfolk is where we are now, and it's changed a lot over the years, but there's a couple of places we can line up from that foot chase towards the end of the movie, and one of them is this alleyway. We see her come through, and then we see Axel running right up through here. This staircase in the background with the door there, these two doors here. And if you're not from Norfolk, then you're probably wondering why I'm pronouncing it that way. Here's what I think, my theory on the pronunciation of Norfolk. Because if you're from Norfolk, how do you pronounce it?
Norfolk.
Norfolk. Well, I'm from Virginia. We call it Norfolk if we're not from Norfolk. And then I think people that are not from Virginia pronounce it Norfolk. So that's my theory on the pronunciation of the town. 3 different versions. And this is the other spot. This is the Wells Theater, built in 1913, and this is where the chase comes to an end, the foot chase at least, where she is picked up by who we find out is the Night Killer. And then we get that great yell from Axel where he says, "No! No!" And what we see still here is this building is still standing, this little one back here. Now this one's changed a bit, but the theater is still here. And that is the foot chase. What do you think about filming a video in your own hometown?
More interesting, I think, just because
Spots you don't really hang around all the time?
yeah, like seeing different areas that I didn't really go to, I guess, before.
Right on.
Neat.
Well, make sure to like and subscribe, guys, and we will be back soon with another video. I think you're gonna like the next one. So stick around, subscribe, keep watching. We'll see you.